This video looks at writing an expanded notation, and there's several ways that you can write an expanded notation, and that's just a fancy way of saying expanded form. And so I'm going to look at first the way that most students are taught initially. Let's say you have the number 346. The way that you're usually taught is you break each one up into its place value, and you look at one digit at a time. So the 3 is in the hundreds place, so that would be 300. The 4 is in the tens place, so that would be 40. And the 6 being in the ones place, you would just put a 6. And when you add that back up, there's really nothing to add because it all falls back into the same place as long as you set it up correctly. So usually you would see it like this: 300 plus 40 plus 6. Okay? So what we're doing is looking at a slightly different way of doing the expanded notation. Let's say we had that same 346. And instead of writing it out as 300, we could say that this is 3 times, and we learned a fancy way of saying 100. We know that 3 times 100 is 300. So we could write 3 times 100, but we could also say 3 times 10 to the second power, because we know that 10 times 10 equals 100. So 10 to the second power is just a fancy way of saying 100. And we would add to that the 4, which is in the tens place. We only need to multiply it times 10, because 4 times 10 is 40. That puts it in the right place. And then the 6 is just being multiplied times 1, because it's in the ones place. So the 6 times 1, because it's in the 1 place, the 4 times 10, because it's in the tens place, and the 3 times 100, because it's in the hundreds place. And we're just saying 10 to the second power is a fancy way of saying 100. So it could look like this. It could be 3 times 100, and then plus 4 times 10, and 6 times 1. Okay? Right? So what if we were dealing with decimals? How do we handle the decimals? Well, let's take our original number and add to it 25 hundredths. Okay? Well, I know how I'm going to set up the first part of it. It's going to be 3 times 10 to the second power plus 4 times 10 plus 6 times 1. But what am I going to do when I get back here? Well, if I'm going to follow the pattern, I've got to do 2 times something. So what do I multiply 2 times to make sure it stays 2 tenths? Well, 2 times 1/10 is going to give me 2 tenths. And then 5, because it's in the hundredths place, times 1/100th is going to give me 5 hundredths. Right? And I can expand this. We only have to know it back to the thousandths place. So let's try one where we go all the way back to the thousandths place. Okay, so this is a pretty large number. It's going to take me a minute to do this, but it's not too bad. Okay? So I've got 2 in the thousands place. So that's going to be, I could say 2 times 1,000, but another way of writing 1,000 is to say 10 to the third power, because 10 times 10 is 100, and then 100 times 10 is 1,000. So I could say 2 times 10 to the third, or 2 times 1,000, plus 4 times 10 to the second power. That would be 4 times 100, plus 2 times 10, plus 6 times 1. And then when I get here, my 7 is in the tenths place, so that's 1/10. I'll just put this down here. My 6 is in the hundredths place, so that's times 100. And then the 1 is in the thousandths place, so it's over 1,000. So as you can see, this is really just a pattern. It's following a pattern. The 7 is in the tenths place, so it's 1/10. The 6 is in the hundredths place, so it's 1/100th. And the 1 is in the thousandths place, so it's 1/1000th. Right? So this is another way that you can write in expanded notation or expanded form.